Good morning and welcome to the Forex Daily Update, brought to you by Pepperstone on Friday the 7th of December 2018. I'm Darren Sinden, and you can follow me throughout the day on Twitter by using the handle @ds_Pepperstone. Okay, let's take a look at the overnight changes and price moves to be aware of, and a much quieter session overnight on the world's foreign exchanges. Markets really taking a pause ahead of key data out of the US at lunchtime. Such moves as there were, we saw majors like the euro, like the pound sterling, the Aussie dollar and the New Zealand dollar continue to give ground against their US counterpart, however at a much slower pace than we'd seen yesterday, for example. In terms of emerging markets, a bit of a mixed bag. Yes, the dollar gained against the Brazilian real, adding another 0.37%, but it gave ground against the Indian rupee, down by around 0.36% against the Indian currency. Dollar index for its part trading back at 96.87, pretty much unchanged overnight, but interestingly back below that 97 level. It just doesn't like it above that bigger figure at 97. It can't stay there despite a number of attempts to bust out above that range over the course of this year. In terms of the world of cryptocurrencies, another tough day for both Bitcoin and Ether, both of which are down by more than 4%. Ether now trading well below that key run number at $100 per coin. Okay, what's on the calendar? Events that may move the markets today. It's a pretty busy calendar, and most of the focus, of course, will be at lunchtime. But to kick off the day at 7 a.m., or at least the day here in Europe at 7 a.m., we shall have industrial production data out of Germany for the month of October. We saw a better factory orders number for October earlier in the week out of Germany, an unexpected rise. Will we see that reflected in the industrial production data as well today? Then at 10 a.m., we shall have gross domestic product out of the Eurozone for the third quarter, both quarter-on-quarter and year-on-year measures. Be a very interesting reading this to see just how well or otherwise the Eurozone economy is currently performing, or was performing, I should say. It's a lagging indicator. And then we jump over the Atlantic at 13:30 to the US for the key non-farm payrolls release, the November unemployment situation report, including the headline non-farm payrolls, average hourly earnings, the unemployment rate and the labour force participation rates. We're looking for 200,000 new jobs, or the consensus forecast is looking for 200,000 new jobs today. I wonder if there could be a slightly lower print. An unemployment rate forecast of 3.7% is the other key number to bear in mind. Don't forget that at the same time, 13:30 will also have unemployment data out of Canada, often overshadowed by the US numbers, but of course that does feed directly into the Bank of Canada's thinking on interest rates. At 1500 then, after the dust has settled from the non-farm payrolls, we shall have the Michigan consumer sentiment data for December out of the US, and then at 17:15 the sole central banker speech today being given by FOMC member Brainard. And if you're still in the market at 2000 hours, you can catch US consumer credit change data for the month of October. Okay, let's take a look at the breaking news and comment that's caught my eye overnight. First of all, US stocks have regained some composure, finishing mostly down, although the Nasdaq Composite Index was up, but well off the lows on their session. Donald Trump has tweeted that he has full confidence that a trade deal can be reached with China in the next 90 days. Staying with China and US relations, Huawei's chief financial officer, Meng Wanzhou, will appear at a bail hearing today in Vancouver. You'll remember that she was detained by the Canadian authorities on behalf of the Americans over alleged sanctions busting, selling sensitive equipment to Iran. And members of Germany's CDU party will today vote on who should replace Angela Merkel as their party leader. Okay, time for food for thought and something to take away with you into the trading day and beyond, and why not think about this? As the OPEC meeting in Vienna ended without a firm commitment on production cuts, news emerged that the USA is now a net exporter of crude oil after 75 years of dependence on foreign crude imports. And here's a very interesting graphic from Bloomberg that shows who are the buyers of US shale crude, and in millions of barrels, and you can see it's quite a wide bunch of countries that are buying it. Even some surprising names here, for instance the UAE, in the heart of the Persian Gulf. America will still import oil, of course, from time to time because different blends of crude meet different requirements, but nonetheless it's a very key and sentimental figure that we've reached there, net exports from the States, and of course the States is vying to become the world's largest crude oil producer overall as well. Okay, please take a moment to read this risk warning. Trading CFDs and foreign exchange on margin can be a risky business. If you're uncertain about those risks or the suitability of leveraged products for you, then please do contact your Pepperstone account representative and do take a moment to read this risk warning thoroughly. Thank you for your time today.